Hi, and welcome to RTP Business Live. I'm Bob Collier, your host, and we are very fortunate today to have a guest, Douglas Koenig. Douglas is an elder law attorney, and we want to find more about that. Doug, you actually refer to yourself as an elder law attorney, so how is that different, say, from estate planning?
Well, elder law is sort of a term that describes a wide variety of activities that we do as attorneys. So the elder law attorney tends to focus on the needs of the senior or the aging population, and that incorporates some pieces of estate planning, but it also covers the whole continuum. As a person ages, they go through from independent living through to assisted living and nursing homes, and throughout all that there's a number of different legal issues that they may run into, and we help them through all those transitions from one type of need to another.
There are many needs as one becomes older, for sure, and the family that cares for them.
Right, exactly right.
Well, help me out here. How did you end up in the field of elder law? How did you find your way there?
Well, it's an interesting story. I was, you could probably tell from the bio that I'm an engineer by history.
Yes.
And I started in engineering, went to computers, and when I retired from Ford Motor Company, I said, well, I got to do something completely different. And so in an effort to reinvent myself totally, I looked around and I said, what other things could I do? My daughter was in law school at the time, and so she said, Dad, you should do this. It'd be fun. And I thought, all right, well, I'll leverage what I know.
Business. Was she right?
It was fun. It was not easy. Going to school in the 50s is a big change. But I thought I could leverage what I knew in business or patent law or something, and as I got into the practice, the first 2 years I did those things and realized I wasn't quite finding my niche very well. So I ended up working with a client who was having a contract dispute, and one day we were waiting for some copies to be made, and we were just talking, and she said, she talked about her life, and she explained this event back when she was 8 years old, where she was riding a horse with her dad. She could describe vividly the wind in her hair and galloping across the field, and she's 94, right? But she's explaining what happened to her when she was 8, and I said, I'm done. I'm not going to do contracts, bankruptcy, anything. I'm going to help this population. I really love my clients, but you know, I enjoy hearing the stories. I want to hear the stories. I want to help the people as they age and give them voice.
Right. Excellent. Well, I'm going to shift gears on you a little bit. I've seen the term entrepreneurial attorney. So help me out. What is an entrepreneurial attorney?
Well, an entrepreneur is a person who basically takes financial risk for gain. So basically, the small business owners tend to be entrepreneurs. And so I think of myself as an entrepreneurial attorney, and I belong to the Association of Entrepreneurial Attorneys, in fact. And the idea, I think, is innovation and service. So my goal in my practice is to serve my clients, but I do it through new products and new ways of approaching old issues. And we do it as a small business owner. So I'm not just an attorney, I'm a small business owner as well. And you know, I think you can forget that if you're a lawyer in a big firm.
Right.
You know, big firms are great, but as a small lawyer in a small firm, I have to keep reminding myself that it's a business, and I have to keep my staff employed, and I have to keep myself employed, and I have to serve the customers. Absolutely.
Well, speaking of service, you have a service. Your firm has a service called the Life Pathways Plan. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. Earlier on, I mentioned this continuum. As people go through their life, they go through life transitions. I think it's important that the family and the clients understand exactly what they're going to be getting into. And so I talk about this as a pathway. So we're going from here to there, and it's very important that people understand what they might be getting into. And so we have a comprehensive planning service that we do. I don't just generate documents. I serve the client, and part of that is to build a plan. So I take them from where they are today and help them identify what their needs and goals are. We help explain that to the family. We put it all in writing. We create the documents, and then we help the client understand when those documents are going to come into play at each step of the way. So it's a life pathway.
I like the idea of pathway. It's not necessarily going to be a straight line.
That's true.
But you do have a goal. So
right.
you might meander a little bit or
That's
go
right.
a little bit left or right, but you
Right.
do want to reach those goals in your life.
Yeah, and sometimes I think of myself as a legal coach. So it's, as you go through all those issues, I'm coaching them through this process.
Excellent. What should families think about when seeking legal help for their aging loved ones?
I think the most important thing is going to be that as we age, our ability to make decisions is going to change. And so I think a lot of my clients are perfectly competent. They can make their own decisions, but as time goes on, they get less and less able to do that. So families need to understand that that's going to change, and they need to be working with somebody, an attorney, a financial planner, a care manager, somebody that can help them understand what's coming next. And so working with anybody that does planning, and of course, I think our comprehensive planning is unusual, but many attorneys, many people will be able to do that. The key is finding somebody who can work with you through the whole cycle.
Right. You mentioned the word change. I think it seems to happen faster, but as we age, we seem to be a little less capable of adapting to that rapid change.
Right.
So it's great to have somebody to help you through that process. What is VA disability, and why is it important to get help from an attorney who knows about this specialty area?
Sure. If you look at my practice areas, I'm an elder law attorney, so I focus on the issues of the elderly, but part of that also is included with our veterans. So my dad was a Navy officer, and we lived along the Gulf Coast, and so I'm familiar with some of the issues that military families face. And so part of my giving back to the community of the aging people is to work with the veterans. And a lot of people my age were in Vietnam, and so they were exposed to Agent Orange, and many of them have developed disabilities as a result of that. And so service-connected disability are those disabilities that were incurred during your time of service. And the VA, the Veterans Administration, has programs and aid available to people to compensate them for the injuries they received in service. I help people
navigate
through
that very challenging process.
Right, and it is complicated, so it's important to have an attorney at least oversee the process for them.
Government complicated? Is that?
I think I found that once or twice.
Indeed. Well, you're a man of many talents. I understand you might have a book that you'd like to share with us.
I do. I actually have a couple of books. Here's one, for example. It's a book on the issues you would face if you were planning for incapacity. So powers of attorney and other documents and so on that are necessary. The book goes through a lot of the details about that, and it's available for free from my website, or you can call my office.
That sounds hugely helpful.
And I have another book on estate planning that's more generic to estate planning and the needs. Many stories I've gleaned put together from fictional clients, so nobody's name is used, but they're basically real stories people face. And so the books I intended to write them so they're easy to read and for people to be able to figure out what to do next.
That's great. What a great resource. Well, Doug, we've covered a lot of ground about the elder law area and what you can help folks with in that area. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you want folks to know about how you can help them through that process?
I actually would like to say to people to start the conversation. As you look at your family, if you go home holidays and you see that things are changing, that maybe the place isn't as kept up as it used to be, or the bills are unpaid and whatever, don't let it go, right? Start the conversation, because your senior, your elder is not going to really recognize it, and they'll be in denial. It's important that people talk, and it's through talking that we can get things done. So
absolutely, absolutely, that's so important. Well,
and I'm there to help.
Absolutely, yes, and facilitate that process.
Exactly.
Sometimes that can help to have a third party in there to help go through those difficult conversations.
And I can ask questions that the family could never ask each other. I can ask. And
right, and it makes it a little safer for them to start that conversation.
Right.
Very good. Folks, we've been very pleased to have Douglas Koenig here today. He's an elder law attorney, and you can find out more about how he can help you through those challenging times of life. There'll be information at the end of this video. There'll also be information on our webpage. So please check it out and find out how Douglas Koenig can help your process. Thanks again for coming on board today, and we appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you again on RTP Business Live very soon.
All right. Thank you.